Well, a Chicago-born missionary has been elected as the first pope from the United States in the history of the Catholic Church. He will take on the name of Pope Leo the XIV, and when the news broke yesterday, CBC got reaction from congregants outside the Holy Rosary Cathedral in Vancouver.
I don't know anything about the new pope yet, other than the fact that he is from the United States, but it is very important to the direction of the Church. And Catholics celebrate whenever there is a new pope because we finally have a leader on earth again.
So if we talk about today's generation, I think somewhere they are just, getting away from the track of Christianity. And I think so, I feel like they should make some rules and regulations which can also help younger generation to put their faith into Christianity as well.
I think it's a hope. A new hope is coming up. So I think I'm very excited and very happy for all the Catholic people. Yeah, so I'm happy for them and happy for the world because the last Pope is really wonderful.
That is some reaction from the congregants outside Holy Rosary Cathedral in Vancouver. And for more on the election of the new Pope, we're joined by Archbishop J. Miller of the Archdiocese of Vancouver. Good morning to you, Archbishop.
Good morning, Stephen.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. The first words from Pope Leo XIV when he greeted his followers at the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica were, "Peace be with all of you." He chose those words carefully. What kind of tone do you think he's trying to set for the beginning of his tenure?
Yeah, they're wonderful words. And of course, as he said, they're the first words of the risen Jesus to his disciples, that he wished them shalom, that he wished them the fullness of peace, of course. He's not talking about, in a sense, world peace particularly, but the deeper peace that comes from being in communion with one another and with God. It was a marvelous choice of words. They're words, of course, that the bishop uses to begin Mass every day.
There has been a lot made about the fact that he is the first American to be elected Pope, but within his role as Pope, I mean, how much will where he's from actually come into play?
I personally think that he will downplay that. If you'll notice in his first talk from the Loggia, he chose to speak in Italian and Spanish and not in English. Although today in his homily in the Sistine Chapel, he said a few opening words in English and the rest in Italian. Mm-hmm. I don't think at all it means that he will be meddling, so to speak, particularly in the Church in the United States. That would be uncharacteristic of what a pope does.
But as a cardinal, he was certainly public about the events.
But a cardinal,
yes,
a cardinal is so different from the pope.
Yes,
a cardinal is located in a particular diocese or with problems. The pope, let's face it, he's not just a super cardinal. He's on a different plane. That's why he even dresses differently.
But as a person, we understand, where he's coming from.
Yes, I think we can sort of where he is coming from, his formation, how this will play out, of course, in his new role as the successor of Peter. That we'll see. That's what will be in the news.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't want to make too much of it, but he was, openly critical of the United States administration specifically. He did not mention the U.S., in fact, yesterday.
No, he didn't. And I think his position on immigration, which objectively is very different from that of the current American administration, would tell you where he stands.
And because he is now Pope, as you say, that is so different. It's not a super cardinal by any means. It's a completely, different idea of who he is. Does that mean that his open criticism of that administration it now comes to an end?
I don't know whether it comes to an end, but the Pope is very careful usually to get into direct confrontation with specific administrations that, after all, come and go. God willing, Pope Leo will be in office long after any specific administration in any country.
Well, and that's true too. I mean, as far as people appointed to the papacy go, he is relatively young.
Yeah, he's going to be 70 in September, I believe. And if he lives as long as Pope Francis, that means 18 years, which is, much longer than any particular politician can expect to be in power.
Would you agree that the trend we have seen among those appointed pope or elected pope rather has become more progressive over the last several choices?
I'm not sure, but I mean, the word progressive is so loaded and so political. I think that there obviously, since the Second Vatican Council, there's been a emphasis particularly on the vulnerable, perhaps on interaction with the world. I don't like those words. I don't think really applies particularly to matters of the church. Maybe they're helpful labels in a way, but I think we can see what a pope does and then make one's own judgment of what label they want to use.
Sure. But insofar as, same-sex marriage, for instance, is accepted, insofar as
I don't
the role
think the Pope has never said that he accepts
same-sex relationships,
never
rather.
said that.
But same-sex relationships.
Even Pope Francis never said that about relationships. He said there was in the document, willing to bless people who are struggling and want the grace of God, which is very different from sort of blessing it in the sense of saying, oh, this is okay. Pope Francis did not do that.
He was nonetheless seen as a progressive leader, was he not, when it came to social issues?
Yes, on social issues, but so was John Paul II or Paul VI before him.
Right.
But on social issues, particularly, I think Pope Francis's genius was dealing with the very vulnerable and the marginalized and the those who are really suffering. And he had a great interest, of course, in the environment. Those, I think, certainly do mark him as kind of particular points of, I guess, genius that he brought to his role as the successor of Peter.
You're also having a change of office yourself after serving as Archbishop for nearly 18 years, and your successor, Archbishop Richard Smith, will be formally installed later this month. How are you feeling about that transition?
Well, I can certainly say I mean, this was expected. I handed in my resignation nearly 4 years ago, and so I'm ready for the next chapter of my life. And Archbishop Smith is just a wonderful choice, so I go away a happy man.
Archbishop Miller, thank you so much for the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Best to you.
Have a great day.
Take care. That is Archbishop J. Michael Miller with the Archdiocese of Vancouver.